Today's topic is about the system, form, and regime of governments. In this lesson, we're going to learn about the systems of government: parliamentary, presidential, and semi-presidential. What are the forms of government? Monarchy, republic, and anarchy. And also about the proposals for changing the electoral system, which includes options for proportional voting, pure district voting, and mixed district voting. Folks, let's get to the lesson. In the world, we have three systems of government: presidentialism, parliamentary system, and semi-presidentialism. Let's talk about parliamentary systems. In a parliamentary system, the people elect the parliament members, and it's the parliament members who elect the prime minister. Besides them choosing the prime minister, the party related to them also comes along. Then we have the people, also electing the head of state, who is the monarch or an elected representative, who is a more or less representative figure, which we will see later on. Pay attention. The prime minister runs the government. He is the head of government. He appoints the ministers of state, presides over the council, and controls the state budget and the regulation of laws. The main power is that of the prime minister, folks, in a parliamentary government. The president has limited power when it comes to foreign policy. These are functions more related to diplomacy. And he also controls and has a certain closeness with the armed forces. He declares a state of siege or federal intervention in the states as well. But it's a more representative figure. It has less power. The prime minister and his party, as the majority, they govern. What does that mean? The prime minister governs, and he has, in a way, a lot of support from the parliament. What does that mean? The parliament, if the prime minister and his party are not doing well in government, meaning they propose projects and are not delivering, then the power of the parliament is such that 20% of the members of the House can remove the prime minister. And in this case, new prime minister is elected from his party. So, see the power. We also have a very strong force from the population. It can happen that the population can remove a prime minister in 6 months. Look at that interesting thing. Now, this point still, going back a little, this point still, we have an interesting aspect. In parliamentary government, we had a vote. We had a plebiscite in 1993, on April 21st, 1993, to choose the form of government, monarchy or republic, and the system of government, presidential or parliamentary. So what happened? It was a landslide, folks. Presidentialism was elected, it continued, and so did the republic. So it was an opportunity for change, and it happened in 1993, and in a way, we're in this continuity, presidentialism and republic. In presidentialism, the top leader is the executive. He governs and has power. He is the head of state and head of government, also elected by the people through direct vote. They are, in a way, independent, both the president and the legislative. People are fixed independents, the parliament, the parliamentarians. Let's move on. The president combines both roles, head of state and head of government, which is a huge power. It's a personal temptation, because often the ruler, the president, is a kind of self-made man. He wants to do things his way, but it takes a lot of negotiation skills, to avoid falling into discredit and having problems. Congress controls the actions of the executive. However, the president's veto prevails. The governors, along with Congress and the president, make up a solid democracy among themselves. So we observe the third system of government, semi-presidentialism. In this system, both govern. The head of state, the president, governs, and he chooses his prime minister. They govern together. They have to have the same personal work goals. In a way, they have a certain power over the legislative branch, and they can even end up dissolving the parliament. So look at this interesting thing, and we have events of this nature, folks, in France, Finland, and Portugal. Let's take a look now. Government regimes are divided like this. The government regimes of Caesarism, which is the political centralization in the hands of the king and the bourgeoisie, and also the dictator, who does not allow opposition. It's the undemocratic regime, folks. We lived under this militaristic regime for 20 years here in Brazil. Then we have the contemporary regimes, which is democracy, the government of the people by the people. We have the freedom of expression, right? And we have authoritarianism, which is a manipulation of the interests of the group or party that is in power. It's a minority that takes control, folks. Then we have totalitarianism, which is concentrated in one figure and is the supreme leader. We have examples, right? Fascism in Italy, Nazism in Germany, and Stalinism in the Soviet Union. Now let's talk about the forms of government, which we have three of: monarchy, republic, and anarchy. Look, Aristotelian, let's say, forms of government. Pure forms: monarchy, the rule of one. It's the king and the sovereign. Aristocracy, government of the few. And democracy, which is the government of the people. In the impure or deviated forms, we have tyranny, which is when family groups take control. We've already had the chance to see this in Brazil, folks. In some Brazilian states, we also have relationships of this nature, in a way. But oligarchy are social groups that also have a certain particularity. Politeia is the government of the oppressive, which exerts a certain power over the periphery, those people more from the outskirts. Right. And now let's go to the electoral system and proposals. Talk a little bit about the electoral system. The electoral system today, in the proportional system, parties nominate candidates in the region. The right to vote for the entire voting population. In this case, the number of seats is equal to the number related to proportionality and the population, which is related to the number of seats. It's a formula that we have, and it's being demonstrated in the handouts, folks. In Proposal 1 of the electoral system, we have the pure district system, which is when each party nominates only one candidate per district. In this case, there's also the relationship of the right to vote for the entire voting population, and the number of seats is equal to the number of districts. In Proposal 2, we have the mixed district vote. What does mixed district voting mean? Also, the party nominates candidates for the proportional position and also nominates a candidate for the district position. The district position. What does it mean? In the race for the proportional position, there's a closed list. And in the case of the district race, we have a list of candidates there. The right to vote is also related to the total population on the other side. And there can be parties that don't have representation in a district due to a lack of necessary votes. The number of seats is divided in half. The candidates that are related to proportionality and the candidates that are related to the district. So we have a total district, you divide it by 2. In this part, we have better information related to the Supreme Electoral Court. And we've added something in the handout. But look, folks, you really need to look for this supplement. It's within the information we have at the Regional Electoral Court.